Hello, everyone. This podcast is on the different types of muscle tissue within our body. This is a very brief overview of muscles as we spend an entire unit on the muscle system later this semester. Okay, the first type of muscle that we are going to talk about is skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is probably the type of muscle that you think about when you think of muscle. It is the one that is attached to our bones, like you see in that image there. Skeletal muscles, if you're looking for the slide, the flashcard, if you're following along with your flashcard, you're looking for that flashcard there. And skeletal muscle, you'll notice right away when you look at that flashcard or the image, is that it has a striped appearance. So we call this striated. So if you look at the flashcard, you'll see those striations in there, and it gets that appearance from thick and thin filaments that exist within the muscle fiber. And we'll talk more about those thick and thin filaments again when we get to the muscle system unit. So skeletal muscle's purpose is to allow us to move. So it is attached to our bones, and when skeletal muscle shortens, it pulls our bones, and that's how we're able to move. So skeletal muscles shorten in a linear fashion, which means they go from being a little bit longer, and then when they're contracted, they get shorter, hence pulling your bones together to move your skeleton around. Skeletal muscle is the only type of muscle that is voluntary. Voluntary means that we are in control of it. We have to decide to move it. The only time we are not in control is if we're experiencing a reflex. So if you step on something sharp and you move your foot really fast, or you touch something hot and you move your hand really fast, those type of things are called reflexes, and that's the only time we're not in control of our skeletal muscles. Otherwise, they're voluntary. And then depending on the person, it averages about 50% of our body weight is our skeletal muscle. So this one is the most abundant type in your body. And like I said, it is attached to your bones. If you look at the picture of the slide down there at the bottom, you will see again that striated appearance, that striped appearance, and it's long, thin cells that make up the skeletal muscle. All right, next we will talk about cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle exists only in one place, your heart. So skeletal muscle, you'll notice, has also a striated appearance or a striped appearance. So that's what the flashcard looks like. The striations you'll see in there, so it's just like skeletal muscle in that. But one difference is that cardiac muscle has a branching appearance. So you'll notice it's kind of branching as opposed to skeletal muscle, which was just long, straight lines. So that's one difference. Another difference is the way it contracts. Cardiac muscle crimps when contracting, it doesn't shorten. So what I mean by crimping is, I'll try to draw a picture, but it will contract from all different angles as opposed to skeletal muscle, which just shortens lengthwise. Cardiac muscle will crimp and contract in all different directions and kind of squeeze. Cardiac muscle has intercalated discs, which you can see in the images. So these intercalated discs, which I'm pointing out in the drawing, you can see it in the microscopic image here. Those are the intercalated discs that you see there. Those control the electrical impulse conduction. So this is what gets the cardiac muscle to contract. In other words, this is an autonomic part of our autonomic nervous system, which means it's involuntary, which is a really good thing. You don't want to have to think about contracting your cardiac muscle, right? You want it to just do it on its own. So it's those intercalated discs will cause the contraction of your cardiac muscle. Again, involuntary, we don't have to think about it. Okay, and the last type of muscle is called smooth muscle. The key word here being smooth. If you look at your flashcard picture, you'll notice there are no striations in this muscle. There is none of that striping like in the other two. So that is why it is called smooth, because it does not have the striations that the other two do. Smooth muscle is responsible for pushing something through your body. We call that peristalsis. So if you remember learning about the digestive system in freshman bio, we learned that peristalsis pushes the food down our esophagus. And it's the smooth muscle in the lining of the esophagus that does that. So food just doesn't drop into our stomach. It's pushed into our stomach by the smooth muscle that lines our digestive system. This is also controlled by our autonomic nervous system, which again just means it's involuntary. You got to spell that right though, involuntary. Okay. And then you'll also notice that the cells kind of take on a little bit of a different shape. We say that these are spindle shaped. To me, they kind of look like strange shaped footballs or kind of like strange shaped eyeballs with the nucleus there in the center. So they are called spindle shaped. And I mentioned that it's in your digestive system. Basically, it's in any hollow vessel or organ that you have. So vessel meaning your arteries. Your arteries have smooth muscle in the walls of them. So for example, if your blood pressure gets really low, the smooth muscle will start to contract in your arteries to push the blood through the body. It's also in your digestive system, which we talked about. And then your uterus for females, that's what will help to push the baby out during labor. Thank you for watching this podcast on the different types of muscle tissue. Now would be a great time to go to Quizlet and practice what you just learned.